We would like to think our buildings are not objects in a landscape. They're not so much things, they're places. And it seems kind of abstract, what's the difference between a thing and a place? But if you think about a building as a piece of sculpture, for us that's a kind of object in the landscape. In our quest to make buildings that last beyond our lives, we use very heavy materials, and so concrete and the structure, concrete structures, play a huge part in our architecture as well as does stone. So the use of massive, heavy, weighty buildings is also a way for us to make buildings feel as if they're very grounded in the environment. The common element in all of our work, whether it's a residential project or whether it's an institutional project, is a huge sense of calm. I think that what I'm interested in is probably less clearly architectural. I'm interested in a kind of effect, what a place feels like. I'm interested in the possibility of a kind of surprise or a sort of quiet sort of secret in places. It doesn't, like a lot of architecture, reveal itself all on the outside as a sort of big statement. We'd rather have it be something that you only know from the inside. The American Folk Art Museum is a very small project in comparison to a lot of other museums. But in that it was very small, and it was next to the Museum of Modern Art, which is very big. I think we really wanted to make a building that represented the sense of tactility at its most intense level. Because folk art is an art that's done by people who are not formally trained as artists. So when we thought about how we were going to work on this project, we wanted to make a kind of face for the Folk Art Museum, and we wanted the face to be a very direct connection to the hand. And so we chose to cast panels for the facade at an art foundry. And so the panels are cast, each one separately, in a white bronze. And because it was poured as a kind of molten metal on top of a sand cast, each panel is different. And when you look at the facade, you at first can't tell whether it's stone or exactly what material it is. Then you realize it's metal. But it feels, in a way, like something that you want to put your hands on, if only to figure out what it is. What we did inside, I think, is also surprising for people because the facade looks very, very solid and as if it would be quite dark. And when you walk inside, you have a sense of light, and in fact there's a kind of opening that goes all the way from the top to the bottom, and there's a skylight at the top. There are a number of ways of walking through the museum, stairs that sort of start and stop. We did that because we wanted to make the place a place that you discovered over time. And in the end, I think what that gives the visitor is a feeling that it's a much bigger building than it actually is. It's an amazing collection, and it's also an amazing hanging. And the garden is indeed a very, very important part of your whole experience of the Barns. And I think they thought that that was a very interesting idea of sort of encapsulating that sense of the garden. There was a huge amount of litigation that happened in order for the Barns to be able to move from its present home. The collection hanging and the gallery space must be replicated. That's a very interesting and difficult problem for contemporary architects. Although people have criticized us, I feel that this is something that Barnes believed in, which is a kind of democracy of the experience. And that's why he put the paintings together. That's why he put the paintings together the way he did, because he didn't believe in a sort of focused looking. He believed actually in a very democratic looking, where you looked from piece to piece but didn't prioritize one piece over another, as you do in a more contemporary museum where the masterpiece is set on a white wall with nothing to distract you. Here, of course, you're looking at other paintings to either side and hardware. So in a way, it feels very distracted, but what it's also telling you is that just look at the art. Don't come to it with a kind of preconception of what is important art and what is not important art. And he really believed that this experience was for everybody. The issue of intimacy and particularity is something that we hope to bring to the new Barnes home. It's an exciting project, it's a scary project, but it's certainly the commission of a lifetime.